Vijay Drakoi. I will speak now.
And everyone in that class agrees with me that the professor is probably insane. But aside from that, my training courses are going quite well. I've got 4 more cycles of indoctrination training, and then 7 cycles of practical hands-on surgeries and experimental procedures. I feel very optimistic about my final exams as well. On a lighter note, I have found that every major administrative building in the entire medical lyceum has for its head receptionist a demon who is almost identical in voice and appearance to dear old Nurse Harpatkin.
Nurse Long, please bring a Locatelli class companion kit to room 5. A Locatelli class companion kit to room 5, please.
But I must cut this letter short, as they are ringing the dinner bell in the refectory, and I cannot make it through my next indoctrination session on an empty stomach. Give my best regards to all the staff, even Nurse Penny, and tell them I miss them and the clinic. With fondest thoughts, Lyceum Acolyte Beatrice. P.S. Tell Dr. Flenser that Noodles is also taking to the medical lyceum training wonderfully. I am told he is doing exceptionally well in the basic nursing instruction programs, and that after his next set of vocal implants, he'll be able to start talking properly. I can't wait to sit down and chat with him about his own impressions of nursing school. Beatrice. Well, I'm so glad to hear that Nurse Beatrice is doing so well at the medical lyceum. And little Noodles, too. He's such a charming little tentacle cat. He'll make a fine nurse here at the clinic. Oh, you're already starting to wake up. I must have spent too much time poring over that letter. This is slightly awkward. Oh, there's no need to look around. I blacked out the examination room when I came in to see you, to finish integrating you into the clinic construct for examination. It's better if the room stays dark, at least for the present. I can see just fine, but you... It's probably best you can't see me.
Dr. Flenser, please proceed to the duty station at your earliest convenience. Your new order of neural tissue life support canisters has arrived by courier. Dr. Flenser, proceed to the duty station at your earliest convenience, please.
Sometimes, when patients get too close to look at me, it makes them uneasy. My face is not what most humans would find very appealing. Also, most humans generally don't like being around giant spiders. Oh, I just made things more awkward, didn't I?
Nurse Felix.
Yaldabog! My apologies, Dr. Syrus. I didn't hear you come in. I was just
being distracted by your letter from Nurse Beatrice and making the patients nervous. I know.
How long were you?
Long enough. But don't worry. I do not intend to take official notice, and if you will simply move along to your next task, I will see to the patient directly.
Thank you, Dr. Syrus.
Now, to the matter at hand. Yourself. I hope your restraints are not too uncomfortable. We have a general policy here at the Dream Clinic of making sure that our patients are kept restrained under most circumstances. There are exceptions, of course, but there have also been a few incidents of note. Most recently, an improperly integrated lucid dreamer got loose within the clinic construct, and our search and retrieval teams had a mighty fine time locating them and getting them the proper medical care.
Dr. Lazigi, please proceed to rest and recovery suite 5. Your patient is ready for their evaluation and therapy session. Dr. Lazigi, proceed to rest and recovery suite 5, please.
But I am forgetting certain pleasantries. You may call me Dr. Syrus. I am what humans might call an ologist of sounds. And more than that. In fact, I am composed entirely of sound. I am an eidolon of the very concept of sound. I have no corporeal body, though occasionally I make sounds one might associate with one, just to amuse myself and others. In here, of course, there are only us two, you and me, alone in the darkness of this examination room. No light to pain your eyes, no visions to distract you from the myriad vibrations, the resonances, the sounds of this place. You have a question. This place. Yes, the Dream Clinic. It is a very special place, created in the hazy, quasi-possible realms of experience between your human reality and that of the demons. A place designed by the powers that be to allow humans to be delicately plucked away from their mundane existence for a very short time, in order that they might be examined, inspected, and sometimes treated for various disorders of the mind, body, and soul. You were collected and brought here, to this room in the clinic, while your sleeping body remains behind in the mortal realm. It will stay there, asleep, until we return your here self, your true consciousness, your soul, if you will, to it again. But time passes differently here than what you are used to. To your sleeping body, but a moment of time will pass. But for you, here, now, things may seem somewhat different. And so, we will begin your examination. No. I am not going to do anything to you, though you must remain strapped to the examination chair, and the light must remain absent from the room. You will be treated very gently here. If it helps you any, feel free to pretend that this is all just a vivid dream, and that you will awaken from it once the dream has run its course. And it must run its course, for while you are here, you cannot go back to your body until you are released. That is just how things are done here at the clinic. Now, I will be be testing your reaction to various sounds and combinations of sounds. The absence of light in the room will help with that.
Nurse Lothar, please bring a number 3 vivisection kit to room 4. A number 3 vivisection kit to room 4, please.
And to begin with, I must have a clearer ambient background upon which to create my art. I will close off the entrance to this examination room, and we shall be sealed away from outside distractions, for the most part. A moment, please. Nurse Penny.
Yes, Dr. Syrus?
I am with a patient in room 7, Nurse Penny. I have sealed the room for a more convenient sonic atmosphere, and will be starting my examination of the patient presently.
Understood, Doctor. I shall monitor the room and make any necessary adjustments to the intercom traffic.
Thank you for being so professionally understanding, Nurse Penny.
You're welcome, Doctor. Now we begin the creation of sounds, which lead to the creation of thoughts, and the creation of thoughts to the creation of sounds, and so around and around and around and around.
Let us begin. I imagine part of you is expecting some sort of hearing test, or examination of the external or internal portions of the ears. That will not be done here. No, what I do is more complex, more subtle than that. I will create sounds and gauge your response to them. You merely have to listen to the sounds, and then tell me what thoughts they inspire in your mind. I will listen and make some internal notes. But first, let us have a little background noise, the better to counterpoint the sounds we shall be hearing. Yes, that should do. Now then, we will start with some simpler sounds, and proceed from there. Yes, quite simple. A clock striking the hour of 3. Correct again. A bottle being opened and pouring out. What? Interesting choice. Why that in particular? Duly noted. Next sound, then. What does it make you think of? Very much what I had in mind myself. And this. quite right. One of my favorite sounds, incidentally. There's something very comforting, very soothing about the sounds made by fire. I believe it must be one of the most familiar sounds known to man since the invention of stone tools. Likewise, the sounds of water lapping upon the shore of some relatively calm body of water. Most relaxing. It is a sound one could fall asleep to. Now, what does this sound make you think of?
Nurse Bodkin, please report to Special Care Suite 2. Nurse Bodkin, report to Special Care Suite 2, please.
What was that, human? A giant serpent slithering about. Very, very interesting. To my own mind, it always sounds like sand falling on glass. But you are quite close to the correct answer. The sound I just recreated was, in fact, the sound made by our very own Nurse Bodkin when he moves. Nurse Bodkin is a lamia, one of those serpent creatures told of in your human myths. He has the upper body of a handsome man with some snake-like characteristics, and his lower body is that of an enormous serpent. Another sound, then. Correct again. The grinding sound of a mortar and pestle. Every alchemist and apothecary's favorite tool. What sound to try you with next? Ah. Yes, yes. A human heartbeat. Quite easy to guess. But let me remind you, this is not a guessing game. I am merely gauging your responses to the sounds I create. And this? Yes. Go on. Close. Very close. You are correct about the bottles. And the cat. I think that's enough data for a first approximation. Let's move on to something more immersive. I will tell you a story. There will be words And there will be sounds as well. Many sounds, to more fully convey the ideas contained within the words. In fact, the sounds themselves may tell more of the story than the spoken words.
Nurse Kylona, please bring the Vulture Wind Ritual Dagger to Dr. Shrian in Surgical Suite 5. The Vulture Wind Ritual Dagger to Surgical Suite 5, please.
Let the darkness of this room envelop you fully, human. Listen to the sounds and the words, and let your mind's eye show you what it will. We will begin with a city. Visualize a street corner. The sun is bright in a cloudless sky overhead. The pavement is warm, the wind hot on your skin. There are throngs of people, flowing rivers of traffic, much noise echoing from the buildings all around. Perhaps too much noise for this story. Let us leave this street corner. There. Far less of the noise of the vehicles clogging the streets. Here, the people are walking around in a space between some storefronts and an open-air park. You can hear the chirping of birds, the low murmur of conversation, the sounds of the city folk going about their day, the sounds of the city's public address system.
Warning! Aerial bombardment imminent. This is not a drill. All residents, please proceed at once to your designated bombardment shelter. Repeat. Aerial bombardment imminent. This is not a drill. All residents, please proceed at once to your designated bombardment shelter.
The people are panicked. They run to and fro. Some of them flee into the stores. Others run for the open places. Some of them are making for the local bombardment shelter. And some of them only stand where they are, gazing into the sky. And then an artificial sun rises angrily over the melted remains of what was once a city. On the horizon, other suns also rise. has been declared. The sky has been darkened. The air is cold and carries death in its teeth. The land is burnt and bare. Nothing but ash-covered soil, scorched rocks, and here and there, a collection of fused glass and concrete mounds, where once you stood in the middle of a city. Now, there is only desolation. Far off in the distance, great engines of war are doing battle for control of the blasted plains. In the sky, steel javelins make fire and thunder as they race about. Nearer the blackened ruins of the city, an occasional low-flying craft is scouting the area, looking for who can tell.
Next bullet. Please report to Dr. Schiffer's office at your earliest convenience. Next bullet. Report to Dr. Schiffer's office at your earliest convenience, please.
As far as the eye can see, there are no signs of living things. There are only the war machines, striding about and unleashing more destruction, and the machines in the air. Nowhere is there a single bird or beast, nor even an insect. All has been burned, or blasted, or poisoned, or starved. And far, far below the carnage and the wreckage of civilizations, the last remnants of those who brought it all about are cowering inside their bunkers, their hiding holes, their sealed and self-contained little worlds. Those who brought about the destruction of the world have been lurking down here for some years now, comfortably ensconced in their tunnels. These warrens were stocked with supplies to last for decades, meant to support a selected population. There was water aplenty, and food, and a means to grow more. But problems arose. Machinery for cleaning the air and water of the complex proved faulty. Men and women slowly went mad from the stress of living underground, sealed away from the wind and the light. The rigid social order began to break down, and eventually, so did the Warrens themselves.
Critical failure in water reclamation system. Maintenance personnel, please report to environmental control chamber. Unauthorized entry detected in storage complex Baker. Automatic sentry systems have been disabled. Security personnel, please respond immediately.
Slowly, one machine, one fragile mind at a time, everything descended into chaos.
Cascade failure in power distribution system. Primary power relay station has been compromised. Rerouting to secondary systems. Secondary power systems have been compromised. Power surge detected.
Nurse Mom, please bring a Cortex class crash unit to room 11. A Cortex class crash unit to room 11, please.
The people inside the Warrens eventually turned upon each other and on themselves. The last few survivors, in despair and rage, became little more than animals.
Cascade failure in power distribution system. Facility lighting systems have been rendered inoperative.
And in the Stygian darkness, deep underneath the earth, and sealed well away from the surface, one by one, they succumbed to the darkness within themselves.
Critical failure in complex life support systems. Maintenance personnel, respond immediately.
And so ended the last remnants of those people of power who saw fit to burn their own world to ashes. But their machinations did not bring about total doom for their planet. Let us return to the surface then, and see what the passing years have wrought on the face of the world. As you can hear all around us, there is yet life to be found. For not all of the world was burned. Many places were spared. The weapons of doom were many, but many more were the places where people lived their lives. And though few places were not affected by the war itself, and fewer still escaped the curse of the fallout and the nuclear winter that followed, man is a very difficult creature to erase completely. and nature in its aggregate more difficult still. In the places far, far away from those where war was made, and where cities and landscapes died, life continued. As the blasted surface of the planet recovered and healed, and the fallout aftermath settled and decayed away, life spread out from the untouched places. Nature slowly returned to reclaim what belonged to it of old. It covered the burned lands, drew itself over and around and through the rubble of the destroyed places built by man. And likewise, mankind slowly recovered, spreading out from the places where the fires of warfare had passed them by. The recovery is slow, but steady. Those who survived and taught their children of what happened have brought into being a new kind of society. The old ways that brought about the end of the world are cast aside, and a new era of regrowth and renewal is begun. There is hope once again for the planet, and for mankind. And thus ends my story of words and sounds. Your reactions to all throughout have been most enlightening. I shall be sure to make note of them in your patient profile, together with my observations. But I see you have fallen asleep just now. It is just as well. It will help to ease your transition back to the mortal realm, which I shall set into motion momentarily. Sleep then, human. When you awaken, you will find yourself once again in your own body, in the world you know and find familiar. But you will also find, when you awaken, that you will remember quite clearly all that has transpired during your visit here at the Dream Clinic. And you may find the memory of my story to be a comfort during dark times. Now, to attach this mask to your mouth and nostrils. It will dispense a gas which will complete your detachment from the clinic construct and return your soul to your body, there to resume your sleep. And though you slumber now, human, though your soul fades to insensibility and your conscious mind perceives nothing, I would like to express my satisfaction at having been able to attend you during your visit here at the clinic. And if it should chance that you return here again at some future time, I would be still more delighted to encounter you again. May you have pleasant dreams, human. And remember that there is hope in the world.
Nice to meet